Hello, my name is Labiak, and this is the Week 3 podcast on bankruptcy law. This week we're going to be talking about what to expect when you file bankruptcy. First thing to expect when you sit down with your bankruptcy professional is you're going to have to give in detail. Your financial life is going to be exposed. What you make, what you spend the money on, what you own, and what you owe. They're going to be asking what you've bought and sold. They're going to be asking, do you expect to be receiving any money from an inheritance? Just be honest with your bankruptcy professional. I always tell people it's easier to deal with things before we file the petition than afterwards. That way you can build a plan and you can understand what to expect once you filed bankruptcy. Before you file bankruptcy, you're going to have to take a bankruptcy class. Most people do this online. It's kind of one of those things, you know what, they passed the law back in 2005, says you got to take a class to find out if you're going to find out if you should file bankruptcy or not. The big joke on this is you're not going to know about the class unless you talk to a bankruptcy professional. Why are you talking to a bankruptcy professional? Because you're going to file bankruptcy. So you still got to take the class anyway. Typically it takes an hour. Basically the class is what you make, what you owe, what you spend it on. Not very complicated. So once you've sat down with a bankruptcy professional, he or she is going to give you a list of what you need to bring. You bring that information. You go through a questionnaire. Going to create the petition. That is the actual legal document that you file with the court. A typical petition is between 45 and 55 pages long. Usually not much shorter than that. Usually not much longer than that either. And that's for also, by the way, for a typical Chapter 7. Chapter 13 petitions are a little bit longer, maybe an additional 5 pages at most. Once you file a petition, all the information you've been given to your bankruptcy professional will be sent to the courts and also to the trustee. In addition to the trustee, we commonly call in the interview, they get what's called a trustee packet. Typically this is 2 to 6 weeks of your payroll stubs, your last tax return, copies of your identification, your driver's license, your social security card. There may be some bank statements in there, maybe deeds to the house, life insurance policies. Districts vary on what they require, but those are generally pretty standard of what's going to be required. Trustee gets the packet, they're going to review it. Then it's going to come time for what's called the 341 meeting or the meeting of creditors. This is where you, with your attorney, I should say hopefully with your attorney, will sit down in front of the trustee and they'll ask you questions. Every trustee is different on what kind of questions they're going to ask. But the things to know about this, I always tell people is, you know what, it's first thing is it is open to the public. You're typically there with up to 10, 12 other people or couples that are filing bankruptcy. They'll ask you your name, where you live. There will probably be a questionnaire you fill out beforehand, or the trustee may ask you these questions directly. What kind of questions? Same questions your bankruptcy professionals hopefully asked you already. Have you bought or sold or anything in the last couple of years? You given anything away? Do you have the right to sue anybody? You know, they're asking, hey, is there a potential car accident you've been involved in where you could be receiving money that you haven't listed? They're going to ask you, do you read and understand English? If not, that's okay. The bankruptcy system that has over 100 languages, they can translate everything into you. For us, it's over the phone. For you, maybe in person. On a personal note, I've only had one language they ever have not been able to translate yet. So if you speak Arabic, German, Vietnamese, Thai, Spanish, of course, Portuguese, they'll have that language for you. Other questions they might ask are going to be dependent on your case. And these change with time. The best example I can give you is with housing contractors. 5 years ago, if you're a building contractor, a tile contractor, and you're filing bankruptcy, you're going to be undergoing a whole host of questions on why you're filing bankruptcy. Because 5 years ago, all these people were making money hand over fist. It's a cash business, and you got to be the only person that hasn't figured out how to make a living laying tile or building a house. Nowadays, tile contractors, housing builders, a dime a dozen filing bankruptcy. They look at your situation going, you know what? You're like the last 10 I've just seen. You're going to be in and out in 5 seconds. Not many questions.